coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
And because you're starting out your first 66 days by front loading with all of these individual relational contacts, you're going to build a system that lasts.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. You have no idea how excited I am about today's podcast, about today's conversation. This is what I'm calling just a rock and roll kind of success story today. I cannot wait for you to hear this. This is so much fun and it's going to be great. Now, I just want to say really quick, why do I do what I do? Well, part of it is I want to have people not go through the pains and the strains of ministry like I did. And so what do? I create ridiculously practical resources to help make ministry easier. And so I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine today. And this friend, I did the Amazing Chemistry show at his church. We started doing live coaching, and now he's just on fire. And so it's been a fun journey, and I'm extremely proud of him. And I want to introduce everybody to Mark Lober. Mark, so grateful that you're here. How are you, buddy?
Hey, everybody. Good. I'm good. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be on this with you. And yeah, let's get into it.
You bet, man. Well, Mark, give us just a little bit of, I gave a brief history that we did the Amazing Chemistry show, which, by the way, was super fun.
It was. Yes, it was.
And then during that time, you and I, as we were setting up, I remember you were beginning to ask me about some questions about the Lead Ministry membership and what that might look like. And I felt that you would be a good candidate for one-on-one coaching.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I just feel like I've grown so much. There's comes a time when leaders hit their lids or their ceilings where I don't know what to do anymore. Growth is still happening. And being able to be exposed to how to improve systems and just a bigger way of thinking has transformed my ministry and me. So yeah. I love it.
Well, you just give us a little backstory about your last church and how you just started at a new church. I believe at this point, you're 66 days into your new journey as the new pastor of this church. So start from the back and take us to where we are today.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm children's pastor, yes. But I've been in ministry for 9 years and 7 as paid staff. But yeah, 2 months ago, I took on a role at a new church. I guess these past 7 years, I just had opportunity after opportunity to grow and just come into that calling that I know God put on my life. Mm-hmm. And it's been so good. But yeah, recently, 2 months ago, I stepped into a new role at a new church. And, 66 days in and just trying to really maximize and set the tone, first 90 days, first 100 days, whatever it is, but setting the tone of, hey, this is what we're going after. There's a big vision and we're going after something big together. Yes. So I'm really excited. I think I'd say, while I'm observing and asking questions, I'm also aiming to develop systems that last, not just putting the Band-Aids on the problems, but investing in the systems.
Well, and that's been exciting for me because I have had a front row seat to watch some of this extreme development. And yes, listen, I get it. I've been at your church, your previous church that you were there for 7 years. Maybe you're there for 9 years. Were you there for 9?
Yeah, 2 years as interns. So
okay, 2 years as interns, and that was a great experience. And like every church, it has its bumps, it has its challenges, and it was just time for you to move on. Well, I'm grateful that you're here on the podcast today, and what we're really going to be talking about is front loading with relationships. Now,
yes,
I get it that you just started in this new job. However, I don't care who you are in your ministry. If you want to jumpstart your ministry, this is a podcast for you. Let's say you've been there for 8 years. Don't care. If you do what we're getting ready to share with you, it's going to explosively and exponentially make a humongous difference in your life. Well, gang, we try to have 3 big buckets. We call it define it, develop it, and do it. So we're going to kind of define and set the parameters for our conversation today. Then we're going to dive deep and talk about some of Mark's successes. And then we're going to call you to action. Well, I want to talk quickly about how you can fast track this storming, norming, and performing process. Now, the interesting thing, Mark, is that this idea of storming, norming, and performing, that's something that you are familiar with because you and I have done ministry coaching together. And watch this, because we've done ministry coaching up to this point, everybody else on the podcast, they only know 3 words: storming, norming, and performing. But together, you and I have something unique and something special and in common, which is that I have unpacked this idea of storming, norming, and performing. So those 3 words, when I say that, that holds about 8,000 words of context with you. So together, we have shared leadership language. And as an aside, isn't that what we want to do with all of our teams? We want to have these insider, like leadership lexicon, right? Of these phrases that matter and mean something to us. So I want to teach everybody about storming, norming, and performing very briefly. And then we're going to talk about how you are cracking the code. Well, the storming phase is your first 18 months in any job, whether you're a bank teller, whether you're a ministry leader, whether you're a brand new mom. The first 18 months of about anything, it feels kind of stormy. It feels kind of storm-like. You are getting pelted with ice, little ice crystals as you're walking into this storm. Of course, a storm, Mark, you can't really see that well because of the fog. The storm is rather hard. Now, I got to ask, you've been there, am I right?
I've been there. I'm here now.
You're in it right now. One of the factors of the storm that makes it storm-like is that you don't know how this church does fall kickoff.
That's right.
Here it is. Fall kickoff is here. People can talk to you about that, but you've never experienced it. So you're in the storm about that. You don't know people, and people don't know you. You're in the storm. When this leader, who seems to be a key person, kind of puts their finger on their lip and frowns and turns their head to the left, does that mean that they're angry? Or does that mean that they're deep in thought and they're completely on board with you? You don't have any context with this person, so you just don't know.
Right.
This is the essence of the storm. And unfortunately, so many leaders, Mark, will go through the first 18 months. It's chaos. It's crazy. They don't know what's going on. And then they'll say, I can't live like this. And then they move to a different ministry and they never exit the storm. Little did they know that they're nearing the end of the storm. And they're getting ready to go to this next phase called norm. Storming, norming. Now, this is the next part or phase of the journey, 18 to 36 months. And you got to put in your time, but that 18 and 36 months, you've been through fall kickoff. You've been through what Easter is like at this church. You've been through multiple Christmases at this church. You know people and people know you. You know that when this person isn't, they still haven't showed up 14 minutes from when they were supposed to. Oh, I know them. They're a hot mess express. They're going to be here. They're a great leader. They're just perpetually late. You know people. Hot mess express.
That's good.
And people know you. So here's the deal. It takes time in order to get to that norming phase where you feel normalized in this culture. And I had one person tell me one time, oh my word, Josh, 18 to 36 months, that's going to take forever. Well, today we're going to talk about how you can hack that. But then if you stay in it long enough, 36 to 60 months, that's now 3 to 5 years in the role that you're in. You're going to be in this sweet spot of ministry called performing. Now, Mark, I got to go back in time. You just left your church and you'd been there for a grand total of 9 years.
That's right.
Were you in the performing phase?
Oh, yeah. You get to it and it's like the sweet spot where it's just like, okay, in the storming, in the norming, there's times where, oh man, I didn't see that problem coming. Oh, how could I have known all of that? And when you get to this performing state, it's like you're seeing the problem before it ever gets to you. Yes. And it's like this time when ministry is fun and you still might be putting in a lot of time or a lot of effort, but you're seeing like big fruit and it's just like, wow, look at this and look at what the Lord has done. Yes. And it's like it's the fun times where you have those memories that last. Yeah,
it is. And people are willing almost at the drop of a hat to come to your aid. And you know what, Mark, I got to say, I didn't think about talking about this on this podcast, but you were getting ready to move. You had 2 properties. You had a house that you used to live in that you still owned, and then you had a new house that you were renovating and fixing up. And you were kind of in like and I said, bro, hear me out. You have a depth of relationships. You've poured into all of these people in some really significant ways. Call on those relationships. And what happened?
And they showed up, and they're like, of course, I'm so glad you asked. And that's because there was a relationship, and people weren't just looked at for, what can you do for me? But it's like, I want to know you because who God made you to be and for who you are.
And that is fruit from 9 years of pushing into this thing. So you moved into that role as an intern, and you experienced some of the storm. You could identify with the storm. It got to be a little bit normal. You understood a few things, but then you had about like 5 or 6 years of just the sweet spot of ministry. Then you left. Now, the interesting thing, I had a guy, Mark, I may have told you this story through coaching, but this guy's a good friend of mine. He's been in ministry for 25 years. He took a new job, and he called me on the phone, and his voice was shaky, and he was disheveled, and he was upset. And he said, Josh, it's almost, listen to this. He said, it's almost as if when I quit my last church and I started at this new church that I lost everything. And I said, guess what? You actually did. And he goes, what do you mean? I've done this for 25 years. And I said, all of that gold that you laid up through all of those years at that previous church, you leave every bit of that behind. And now you're literally starting over. Nobody knows you. Nobody understands you, and you don't understand anybody. And he goes, so it's not that I've lost everything in terms of my ministry understanding. It's that I'm experiencing the storm again. And I said, bingo.
That's it. That's right. Yeah. Yes. So good. Yeah.
So you're now starting back over, and you are now thrust into this brand new storming phase. Right. Now, the question and the reason that I wanted to have you on the podcast today is because I've often told people, now I know that I'm almost contradicting what I've told people for years through ministry coaching, but you are breaking the mold. And I think I've stumbled upon something quite radical here. People used to say, Josh, is there a way to fast track things? Can I move faster through the storming phase to get to the norming and then even the performing? Can I fast track it? And typically I have said the answer is no. You just have to gut it out and live through that first crazy 18 months. But Mark, you're breaking the code on this.
Breaking the code.
Yeah, you've actually cracked the code, and I'm super excited about that. And it starts with what you're calling front load with relationships.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a tension when you're new. People don't know me. I don't know them. Put yourself in that situation, and there's just this tension. Can I trust this guy? Can I trust this gal? Are they gonna cancel that program? Are they gonna continue this? Are they gonna bring us to a place where it can finally be fruitful? Whatever the situation might be. And I'm learning that the fast way to make this season storming, that 18 months, if you will, because 18 months is very true. You got to go through the rhythms of the church, the events, all of it, maybe a time and a half, right?
Yes.
Is front load with relationship. Man, too often volunteers, the only time they hear from you, they see the phone light up and it's your name, and they cringe, and they're going to ask me to do something again. Yeah. They're going to ask me to get that thing for Vacation Bible School. They're going to ask me to serve again on Sunday. I'm burnt out. Don't they see it? And here's what's cool. While I'm starting fresh, I want people to know that I see you, I value you, and I want to know you, and I'm here for you. In the lead ministry program, there is the tiers of retention. And the 10th one is the engaged leader. And, I found that when the leader is engaged and the team knows that, people just start to adhere to you. It's like, wherever you're going, I'm with you. And I want you to know that. Absolutely. And I got your back.
Yes.
And let's go after this together.
Absolutely. I'm gonna push pause for half a second and just show people, if you're watching this on YouTube, I have now thrown up onto the screen the 10 factors of volunteer retention. Yep. And, you may have said, oh, why did this person leave? I told him thanks 1,000 times. Guess what? That is one. Telling them thanks in a way that matters to them is one of the 10 factors. The 10th, as Mark just talked about, is the idea that you need to be an engaged leader. And Mark, you are fast tracking this engaged leader piece, and people are literally coming out of the woodwork. It's happening for you.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting, actually. But, I think it's because relationships lead to long-term success.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's how people advance in their jobs is through networking a lot of times. It's, well, I know this, and then people know you, and hey, I could wonder if he could do this or she could do this. And relationships. Yeah.
Together, you and I and your wife, we were on a coaching call together. Yes. And you said, okay, Josh, we're getting ready to start this thing. This was now, let's go back, not 66 days ago, but let's go back. It was almost, tell me if I'm wrong, it was almost like 96 days ago because you had a month in between. But together we had a conversation, and I said, Mark, what if you were to front load with relationships? You're like, I'm all in. What do I do? And so together we created a meeting plan.
That's right.
And this meeting plan, I was like, Mark, are you willing to go radical? And you said, I'm absolutely willing. So tell everybody, now a lot of people know Dave Ramsey. Mm-hmm. And when he talks about getting out of debt, he talks about being, what does he say, gazelle-like?
Intense. Gazelle intense.
Gazelle intensity.
Like a gazelle running away from
a lion.
It's a lion, found in Scripture.
Yes. And so it's on the move. And so I was almost challenging you, would you be willing to go radical on this? And I said, as many possible meetings as you can have. And so tell everybody, within your first 66 days, talk to us.
Yeah, first 66 days, I'm the kind of person where it's all or nothing with everything. I think it's just the way God made my brain to be. I don't know, but we went all in. So 66 days, I've had 41 one-on-one meetings, and you're probably thinking, what? How can you have that many meetings? Like, I got to come up with all this content. How do I know this, or all that? But I think the key
because hear me out. If I could push pause, what's interesting is that there are so many things that you could be doing when you're first starting out in a job.
Yes, right. You come and you see the new place where the kids meet. And you say, oh, well, this needs to be cleaned, or we need to maybe move this, or I wonder who does that. We need to cut the crafts. We need to get more markers in here, whatever it could be. There, you see all the things, right? But you
made the wise choice to go, all of those things need to be done, but I'm going to focus intensely on relationships. So this is so cool. You wouldn't go to the gym and only work out your arms, right? Well, ministry is just the same. That's why we created the Lead Ministry membership, a full year training plan that covers every part of leadership and ministry. 1 month, it's volunteer retention. Another month, it's conflict. Another month, it's meetings. And by the end, you will have worked the whole body. Here's the best part. You can start at just $27.95 per month for webinars and extras, or you can jump to $49.95 a month for 12 courses and coaching videos. And there's even a premium level of membership that includes one-on-one ministry coaching with a Lead Ministry certified coach. Listen, don't skip leg day and don't skip your leadership growth. Join today at leadministry.com. So the crazy thing is that you have had 41 meetings in 66 days.
Yes.
Now, can you talk to us about the format that you followed for these meetings? Now, I know it because I helped you create it, but talk to our people about this.
Yeah. So part of the coaching program that I do at Josh, there's a category called lead meetings. And in that, you're taught, exposed on how to lead meetings. I'll say a year ago, I had no idea, and I had terrible meetings. No one likes it. They're terrible meetings. But man, to have something to where I create the wheel one time and it's scalable to where I'm having the same conversation, but it's able to adapt with the people that you meet with is huge. It allows it to be like, yeah, okay, schedule this. I'm available. Okay. So there's a time to connect personally, just to start the conversation off. Sometimes we pray first, sometimes we connect. You just got to read the room. Okay. That's important.
I love that. So pause. So
Okay.
I love what you're saying, because what you're saying is there is a level of flexibility. So it's not a rigid meeting structure. It is a form. It's not a formula. A formula has an equal sign. This is a form that can take on its own flavor.
Yes.
Good
absolutely.
leadership, Mark. Good leadership. You're reading the room. I love this.
Yeah. Yep. You read the room. So sometimes people come in and they're ready to get to business, and you're like, okay, well, I'm seeing this. Let's just jump right in. Other times it's like, okay, we're new. We don't know each other. We need to take time to know each other here. So we're connecting personally, and then we're praying together with topics prepared ahead of time. I think that's important, because a lot of times it's like, well, let's just pray that we have a good meeting. Amen. But instead it's like, well, what if we put like the 3-month goal ahead of us? Hey, let's pray for parents' hearts to really be turned towards our kids, and for the just ideas and innovation of how we engage parents on a strategic level to come to fruition.
So you're not just praying kind of a standardized opening prayer. You're actually diving into, by the way, these are people that you're meeting like possibly for the first time. You've been at this church for 66 days. And so you were at this church for maybe 5 days when you started having these first meetings. Nobody knew you.
Right.
You're setting the tone for this thing.
Setting the tone. Yep, that's right. That's a great way to put it, setting the tone. And the next bit is before we get into the stuff that's relevant for this week or today, there's an opportunity to prepare the person with forward thinking. So it's a great spot for if you're reading as like, hey, that's a leader. Here's some leadership thinking. So my go-to at this one, I created, with your help, Josh, created this thing. I actually have a printout here. It's called.
I love this.
Can you see it?
Egypt to Promise. Let me see. Yeah, you're good. I love that. That's perfect. Hold it up just a little bit. Hold it up a little bit taller. A little bit taller. Right. Down a little bit. Down a little bit for those of you watching. Okay. Egypt to Promise. It says winning in the wilderness equals communication. So for those of you who are not watching this on YouTube, he has a map of the ancient Middle East. He's got Egypt. He's got wilderness through the desert. And he's got promised land. One is red, one is yellow, one is green. Okay, so you're using this as a visual, and you're saying, hey, we are here in Egypt. I want to take us to the promised land, but this middle ground could be a little bit shaky. Take it away, Mark.
Yes, that's exactly right. How children's pastor-esque of me, right? I put a visual.
That's right.
It's awesome. But yes, so we're expressing, hey, we've just transitioned in. When I think about great stories of transition, what better story than the Israelites to the promised land? There's this immediate connection, like, oh yes, absolutely. Where's he going with this? And then you're able to say, Egypt was tough for the Israelites. There are overwhelming burdens. And I'm sensing that our kids ministry has been up against burdens for a long time. It could be this, it could be this, it could be this. Maybe you've felt this too. Pause. Let them kind of come in. See how it's kind of already, I kind of have it memorized in my mind.
And by the way, have people, because it is kind of a disheveled ministry. It needed a little bit of extra love. I get that. That's often what happens when somebody new comes in.
Right.
Have people spoken into and filled in the gaps and been like, yes, it has been an Egypt-like situation.
Yeah, all the time. It's really neat to see, like, they say something before, and it's one of those things I kind of prepared, one of those points. I think when I've been meeting, there's about 5 that I kind of reference, right? And they kind of say them ahead of time. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I've noticed that too. And but just like the Israelites faced that, they dreamed of a better freedom, of a promised land, flowing
now,
milk and
with milk and honey. But I want to push pause for a second, because there's a great leadership thing that you did. Because you pointed out the current disparity.
Yes.
And you said, just like the Israelites, I have kind of noticed, even in my first little bit here, that there's been some hardships. There's been some extra burden. There's been, you need to make a bunch of bricks, but we aren't going to give you any more straw. And they're like, yes. So all of a sudden they begin to go, yes, actually my shoulders were being like weighed down. I've been leading this thing by myself. I feel hurt. I feel a little bit misused. So there's this, oh, I understand. Oh, I hear you. It's allowing them to emote and tell you the hard thing that they've been under for a while.
Right. Yep, absolutely. And then you're able to say the wilderness part, this middle part, how we get there is going to be tough. Change is tough, but winning in our wilderness season is going to be communication. It's going to be casting this vision, sharing it with others and saying it again and again, almost ad nauseum from the leader's perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's when people start to get it. They start to say, this is going somewhere. I think God's working in this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a part of that,
mm-hmm. And so Mark, I challenged you to create an easy way for people to sign up to do meetings for you.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Well, I have another printout. Here it is. I'll hold it up so we can see.
Meetings with Mark. It's on a piece of paper. It's kind of your send home with people. And it says, I'm going to read it. It says, I'd love to meet with you. Whether you're a parent or a volunteer, I want to hear your heart and share with you where we're headed in children's ministry. Scan the QR code to meet. And so when people scan that, they're automatically taken, Mark, to a Calendly.
Yes.
Calendly?
Calendly is one. I use the Google Calendar, the bookings feature.
Okay, so you're using Google, not Calendly.
Right. It's the same thing. Yeah,
I love it. But see, the Google is just so ubiquitous, right?
Yes.
And so you don't need another app. It's probably part of the suite that you currently have. But then people are able to sign up for spaces that you have earmarked as when you can meet with Mark.
Yep, they see it, and they don't see all the stuff in your calendar. They just see, oh, he's available from 12 to 1 for lunch. He's available from 1 to, or Thursday, he has 4 openings. And it just gives people options. And then it removes this back and forth of, well, when works for you? Or I'm not available here, but you are. Let me get back to you and I can look at my calendar. It just puts the ball in their court.
Absolutely. It's a very simple thing. And it's actually a little bit more ubiquitous than we might think. A lot of people use these types of tools these days. And so people are signing up and talk to us about this kind of how you're transitioning between these kind of buckets that you have between prayer and this personal piece. And sometimes you're shifting, you're talking about this vision of moving from the hardship to the promised land. Give us some more meat on these bones. This is great stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. It's reading the room. So it's having this template, and next to it, I put 10 minutes. So I'm kind of watching the clock as well, so we don't get stuck on one thing for too long. And then, it's reading the room. So it's like, okay, we need to move on because I want to be respectful of your time. That's a line I say a lot. And we're aimed to be done in 50 minutes. Okay. So then the last part is called the plan. And again, this is from the Lead Meetings course on there. But all I do in there is it's more current. So the first thing is just a simple volunteer survey. A quick question. It says, hey, in my role, I'm thriving, I'm doing okay, or I'm not okay. And I just say, hey, would you circle one? And they do it. And then the immediate thing is, okay, tell me more about that. And this is gold because it lets people who are doing really well say, I'm so excited about this. I love that I do this and that. And then you're cued in as the leader to be like, ooh, you have experience in this. You have skills and ability in this. And knowing all of the spots that people can get plugged in your ministry, then you have the question of, well, have you considered this? Or you ask the question, this is one of my favorite questions. How can you make the biggest kingdom impact? Have you ever thought about that? And I just help as a small group leader here, or I just help in the nursery. But it's like, no, I'm hearing you have this experience, and I actually have a spot that I'm looking to fill for this. And would that be a thing you'd want to have a conversation on? Awesome. Also, on the flip side of that, with this volunteer survey, this quick one, if they mark doing okay, or if they say, I'm in between doing okay and not okay, okay, tell me more about that. And it lets you go deep with people. This is where you get to front load with relationship too, in a different way. Because then you can speak to that problem, that area in their life that as a pastor, as someone to say, I can relate with my experience, or I'm so sorry that's been the case. Sometimes what I've run into is, you've been serving every single Sunday for 3 years. Oh, I'm so glad you made me aware of this.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. Now, Mark, what you're saying, I've got goosebumps and I could get emotional because we need to understand that we need to take off the recruiting hat and we need to put on our pastor's hat.
Yes.
This isn't about recruiting. This is about front loading with relationship and getting somebody else to talk.
Yep.
Like you are crushing this, dude.
It's about being willing to bear each other's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ, Galatians chapter 6. It's about being devoted to one another in love. And so it's like, hey, we can preach this all day long. We can read about this, but are we willing to live it out?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is absolutely amazing. Now, I remember in our conversations that one of the closing lines that I suggested for you was, would you be willing to meet again? Are you using that?
I am, yes. But before that, here it is. I say, hey, we're out of time. Thank you so much for meeting. Was today fruitful? And hearing people say, yes, this was great. And then they can say their thing, but then the response that as the engaged leader able to provide is, man, I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting with you, getting to know you, getting to start this relationship. It's been very fruitful for me as a pastor, but not just as a pastor, as a person too. So thank you. And hey, could we continue this conversation? I would love to talk and stay in touch, but maybe follow up on this next time. And before you leave the meeting, you put it on the calendar, or you say, hey, maybe, you have that code, text it to you.
Now, I have a question. Is this 41? I don't know the answer to this. Is this 41 brand new people?
Yes, it is.
So you have yet to have your second meeting with any of these people?
I've had second meetings on top of that, with people.
But you've met with 41 individuals.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. But you've met with a handful of them 2 times now.
Yeah. Yep. I have a third meeting with an individual later today.
Oh my word. Coming up, you said in 50 minutes, 49 minutes from right now.
Yeah, that's right.
And they've signed up and they're going to come and you're going to you're just going to continue this discussion. But I love the idea. But by the way, this is so powerful. When you ask somebody the question and you say, hey, would you say that today has been of value to you? Or would you say that today has been fruitful for you? Yes. That is such a great question. And then, would you be willing to carry on this conversation? Well, this is awesome. I could have this conversation, I would say, like 50 times over. So front load with relationship. But now I want you to tell us briefly about discover the gold in people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share a couple stories because I think that's it. This will help to see it. So met with a woman recently, and she first thing I say is this connect. I said, okay, so what do you do for work? Can you just tell me that? And she starts talking about how she's in insurance and her role is training, and she takes it very seriously. She's been involved for 31 years, and she takes each person that she trains as a personal mentorship in her job. And I love this. All of a sudden, it's going off my mind like, oh man, I've been praying for this meeting. I'm so excited. This is great.
Because she's a trainer of people.
She's a trainer of people. And, as the pastor, you have a million hats you wear. As the leader, right? You have a million hats you wear. But you want to have thoroughly trained and a consistent process for when people on board, right? But to have someone come along and to say, let's invest in this system together, then there's buy-in and you have this person that's already skilled and has purpose in this to do it. So that's awesome. But the meeting, we almost bypassed the whole meeting okay, what it was planned. And I started to show her the back end process of how this, what it looks like when people sign up and the workflow that they get inside of Planning Center people so no one falls through the cracks, and how this is really a scalable process and how it's not just for our ministry, but this is something that's going to help unify the other ministries of the church and unify the church in general. And it was just so cool to see her light bulb go off, and she was asking questions, and she goes, let me look at your computer. It was great.
So she kind of took over. She grabbed the steering wheel. That's exactly what we want.
Exactly. So I said, hey, I know you've been helping in our elementary room with small groups, and you do a fantastic job, but is what I'm saying to you resonating in any way? And she's like, oh yeah, of course. I say, how about this? This Sunday, we actually have 3 new people that are doing a first serve. They're doing a shadow experience. And I would love for you to come and do that too. But I'd like you to bring your notebook, just observe the process. And I'm going to give you the document that we've started with, how we're going to train ahead of time, that sort of thing. And let's meet next week and we'll just discuss it. And we left that meeting. We were both probably just like, I was like, slam dunk. Yes, God. And she was too.
Well, this is huge. Well, you've got so many good stories. One that you were telling me about is the guy who was stuck on bathroom duty.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a guy stuck on bathroom duty. That was his role in kids' church. How fulfilling, right? But for 6 months, and then, we meet, I'm asking questions, and I discovered that this guy, he has 10 years experience in kids ministry. He used to be a kids pastor.
Okay, time out real quick. Time out. Hello? And so by virtue of you sitting down with him and having a dialogue, you just uncovered gold.
Gold, yeah. It was so special because he's such a humble guy too. He probably wouldn't have just come out and said it,
Sure, of course.
So that was cool. But we just start talking about, man, he loves he's just that big stage presence. When it comes to being on stage, he loves that. And how his big thing was he loved putting on VBS. So I'm like, dude, okay, that's great. Hey, this Sunday we're talking about Samson. Can I have you lead the first service? And would that be fulfilling to you? He's like, dude, I've been waiting for someone to ask me.
You're kidding me. Mark, this is huge.
So he took the script that we had for our large group story, okay? Bible story on Samson. And he just made his own bullet points. He brought his own costume pieces and he brought a kid up on stage, okay? And he's dressing him as Samson. He rolled up 2 socks and put the socks in to get it in frame in the deal. So the kid was like buff,
so he
like
could
Samson.
look like he was huge, yeah.
Right. And just crushed it. And I went, dude, you crushed it. That was amazing.
So from bathroom duty to Samson lesson extraordinaire.
Yes.
And that happened through obsessively devoting yourself toward relationship building. Man, I got to say, this is huge. Tell me about this guy, Matt. This is one more story. We got to go quick because I don't want to make this episode too long because I could go on forever about this because you're killing it.
Me too. Yeah. Okay. So met with another guy and he came in saying, hey, I want to help with the elementary. That's kind of my age group. I know how to do that. And in talking, I found out that his gift is really structure building. It's seeing a problem and then doing something about it and making this beautiful new system. He told me this story about how, because he's like a football coach kind of guy. Okay. And he started telling me the story of, man, I saw this private school and their weightlifting program was pretty mediocre, to say the least. And it was bad. But then, so I said, I'm just going to step in and we're going to do it. And in 1 year's time, he's like, the form of these guys is so good. They're going to show up and they're going to perform and they're going to kill it. And it's going to be probably their best year yet. And he was like, not to toot my own horn, but I think it was the gym. The weight room.
Now, isn't this the fella, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you meet with him and then he was willing to participate with you and other people came up to you and said, you got that guy? Was that story, Mark?
Yeah.
And so other people in the church were completely blown away in a sense that you landed this fish because he is literally that guy that everybody else in the church wanted. But it simply came down to you dedicating time to listen and talk with somebody.
Yeah, strong leader, right? And so I'm like, yeah, we'll get you in for elementary because I know you do great. And these boys would look up to you like awesome. But I invited him to something bigger, an ideas team. a strategy team,
Wow.
parent engagement, events. Let's work together with a small pool of people to maximize our ministry, maximize our building, and just see where God can take this.
And so you're, oh man, this is so good. But you're really looking to build systems that last, and systems that last are with people who stay with you for a really long time. And because you're starting out your first 66 days by front loading with all of these individual relational contacts, you're going to build a system that lasts. Well, finally, a call to action for everybody. My answer, your answer is start meeting with people now. Mark, can you land the plane for us, buddy? I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, start meeting with people now. Do some research on the Google Calendar. Get that link so you can send to people. Put the ball in their court. Eliminate that back and forth. Okay, but start to think. How do I get out of this week-to-week thinking? How do I step into something that has some longer-term vision? I'd encourage you to check out leadministry.com if you haven't. Yeah. Check out how to lead a meeting. Check out how to host that. It's going to be great. And then lastly, I would say this is front load with relationships. Don't fall into the trap. Don't give into the temptation of, hey, we gotta do this thing. I'm gonna call that. Do the out of the blue call. Start to just meet people where they're at and meet with them. Dude,
literally, it's like I'm on the front row seat of something exceptional. And we get to. I know these stories. That's why I wanted you to come on the podcast. But like, this is like the beautiful things are percolating up, and like the sky is the limit. And you listen, all of a sudden, all of these people who have been a part of an Egypt type, it wasn't working. They were kind of beat up and disheveled. And all of a sudden, this guy, Mark, comes in and they're like, he is listening to us. He's talking to us. He's finding out about us. These people are already eating out of your hands.
It's exciting. Yeah. Hey, we all have our lids. We all have to be willing to do the hard work to grow past that so we can lead effectively. And this is my first step. So I have a lot to credit to you, Josh, and your program. But
well, thank you. And also thank you, by the way, for being willing to take on the challenge when I said meet with as many possible people as you can in the first 90 days. Be obsessive about meeting with people, and you're doing it.
Praise God. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, I'm crazy proud of you. I wish we could carry this conversation on. It's already gone a little bit longer than normal, but it's absolutely worth it. Listen, you are short-cutting and you are hacking the storming phase. Your storm is nowhere near what your storm would be if you're proving me wrong. You're proving me wrong. You can actually hack that opening storming phase. Well, gang, I'm super grateful that all of you were a part of this conversation with us. Mark is an exceptional leader. I'm having a front row seat. And listen, maybe in your mind, you're like, you know what? I need ministry coaching. And I want you to check out leadministry.com. It literally can change your life. Remember, Mark was a kids pastor for 9 years, but it doesn't mean that he can't exponentially blow the lid off of this thing. So gang, we're super grateful that you're here, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.